There's a kind of man a woman never forgets, and it's not because of his looks or money or charm. It's because when she's around him, she feels something she didn't even know she was missing. Something rare. And once she feels it, she keeps coming back to it over and over, even if she can't explain why. Have you ever noticed how some men, especially as they get older, seem to grow more attractive while others just sort of fade into the background? It's not luck. It's not about having more money, smoother skin, or some secret cologne. It's not the hairline or the shirt he's wearing. That's surface stuff. What really makes the difference? It's quieter than you'd expect, more subtle, but far more powerful. It's about how a woman feels when she's around him. See, there's a way to connect. With a woman that goes so far beneath the surface, it doesn't just grab her attention, it holds it. You're not just someone she enjoys. You become someone she feels pulled toward, like a gravity she can't name, but still leans into. And it's not because she's needy or lonely. It's because you're meeting something inside her she didn't even realize was missing. It's rare. And when she feels it, really feels it, everything changes. She might not even understand why. Why she checks her phone hoping to see your name. Why the thought of you shows up out of nowhere while she's driving, folding laundry, halfway through a meeting. But it happens, and it's real. And no, it has nothing to do with tricks, lines, or pretending to be someone you're not. This isn't about performing. It's about presence. It's about something you shift inside yourself, how you show up, how steady you are, how deeply you listen, how fully you see her. And that shift, it makes her feel something she can't find anywhere else. And that's when the magic starts. So stay with me, because I'm going to walk you through 4 quiet emotional triggers that most men overlook completely. But they're the key to creating the kind of deep connection that lasts. And if you're still with me by the time we wrap this up, drop the word connection in the comments, so I know you're one of the rare few who really gets it. Let's get into it. Here's something most men never stop to think about. Women don't chase the guy who looks like he stepped out of a magazine. They don't fall for the one who's always throwing out the perfect line or trying to impress them with how much he spent on dinner. That kind of attention might get a smile. It might even get a date, but it rarely sticks. What women chase, what they truly feel drawn to, is something they can't find everywhere. It's not about what you show her on the outside. It's about what you stir inside her. See, wanting something is casual. She wants a new pair of shoes, a good glass of wine, maybe a quick weekend getaway. But she doesn't cling to those things. She enjoys them, then moves on. But when something reaches her emotionally, when a connection feels rare, like it hits a part of her that's been ignored or unseen, that's when it starts to matter. That's when your presence starts to feel essential, not flashy, not loud, just necessary. And when a man taps into that level of presence, when he fills a space in her heart that she didn't even realize was empty, she doesn't just remember him. She begins to crave that experience again. That's the real key, not youth, not charm, not trying to be something you're not. It's emotional depth, and that's where we're headed next. You'd be surprised how many women walk through life appearing confident, strong posture, polite smile, always put together. But if you really listen, really pay attention, you'll see it. Underneath all that strength, there's often a quiet longing to be seen, not just looked at, not just complimented, but seen. To feel noticed, not for her appearance, but for who she is, for the way she thinks, for the little things she says when she thinks no one's listening. And this is where most men miss the mark. They try to pour on the compliments, thinking more is better, but there's a reason it doesn't stick. Because when something becomes predictable, it becomes forgettable. If you tell her she's beautiful every time she enters the room, she may smile. But over time, it blends into the background. It loses its punch. But say it once, quietly, unexpectedly, when she's not fishing for it, maybe while she's mid-sentence or cleaning up or just sitting quietly next to you, and it lands completely different. Her brain reacts, not just emotionally but chemically. Dopamine, that hit of emotional reward, triggers something primal. And she won't even realize it's happening. She'll just find herself drawn back to you, wanting to hear that kind of sincerity again, needing it even. Validation doesn't work because it's loud or frequent, it works because it's earned. And when you learn to offer it with presence, timing, and honesty, you stop being a nice guy and start being the man she quietly hopes to impress. The thing is, life isn't just hard, it's often heavy. Routines don't leave a lot of room for magic, and most women, even the ones who are doing okay, feel that weight every single day. She might not say it out loud, but she feels the pressure. Work deadlines, family expectations, the same conversations, the same to-do lists, over and over. That's why the men who stand out are the ones who can cut through that noise, not with gifts, but with energy. A little humor when she's tense. A spontaneous invitation when her week's been dull. A moment of playful teasing that reminds her she's still got spark. That she's still alive. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to take her skydiving. But if your presence breaks the pattern, even just a little, you become her favorite part of the day. And her mind starts to associate you with something incredibly rare. Joy. It's not about being her entertainment. It's about becoming the part of her day that feels different, better, brighter. It's not your job to distract her from life, but if you can be the man who makes her feel something when life feels flat, she'll naturally want more of that feeling. That's how emotional excitement turns into emotional attachment. And that's when she stops seeing you as just another guy and starts seeing you as an experience she doesn't want to lose. Sometimes it's not excitement she's missing, it's silence, peace, rest. She might be surrounded by people all day, but that doesn't mean she feels held. She may smile through dinners, take care of everyone else's needs, keep conversations going, but deep down she's tired. Not just physically, emotionally, and what she really wants is a space where she can just let go. No filters, no expectations, just a moment to breathe. That's where you come in, not to fix, not to rescue, but to create safety. If your presence helps her exhale, if she feels calmer just being near you, you become more than a person. You become a place she looks forward to returning to. When a man can hold space for a woman without needing to change her, without judgment or pressure, he gives her something very few people offer: emotional escape, a reset, and believe me, that becomes addictive. It's the kind of connection that builds slowly, but runs deep. She won't say it. She might not even know how to explain it, but she'll keep coming back, not because of what you say, but because of how she feels when she's with you. She'll feel lighter, more herself. And when a woman can be fully herself around a man, messy, quiet, playful, moody, and still feel accepted, that's when you've truly made a lasting impression. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. You'd think that giving her everything she wants would win her over, but more often than not, it's the opposite. Most men overcompensate. They chase. They try too hard to be agreeable, to be always available, to please her before she even asks. And while kindness is good and generosity matters, there's something that runs even deeper in attraction, and that's challenge. Not in a mean way, not in a manipulative way, but in the form of self-respect. Emotional stability, the kind of presence that says, I like you, but I don't need you to validate me. That's the kind of energy that stops her in her tracks, because she doesn't feel it often. She's used to men leaning in too fast, folding too easily. But when you're the guy who gives just enough to spark interest, and then confidently pulls back into your own world, without fear, without explanation, it triggers something powerful. In her, curiosity, intrigue, desire, Suddenly, she's asking herself why she wants your attention so badly, why she's replaying your last conversation, why she's wondering what you think of her. And when that happens, you're not just another man in the mix, you're a mystery she wants to solve. Not because you're being difficult, but because you carry yourself like a man who knows his worth, and that is one of the most attractive traits on earth. Quiet confidence, emotional independence, a calm, grounded energy that challenges her in all the right ways. You don't need to sit her down and ask 100 questions to figure out what she's truly craving. Most of the time, she's already telling you, just not with direct words. That's where most men miss the point. They hear what she says on the surface, but they don't listen for what's underneath, because underneath every complaint, every story, every offhand comment, there's usually a need trying to be seen. If she keeps saying how tired or overwhelmed she feels, chances are she's looking for some kind of escape, not someone to fix everything, but someone who helps her feel lighter. If she seems restless, always needing something new, she's probably missing excitement, something to break the routine, to shake things up. If she's constantly posting selfies or fishing for compliments, she may be starved for real, heartfelt validation. Not the generic kind, but the kind that makes her feel genuinely recognized. And if she loses interest in men quickly or seems hard to impress, don't take it personally. It could just mean she needs challenge. Someone who doesn't hand everything over right away. You don't need to be a therapist. You don't need to change her. What matters is that you care enough to understand her, because when you do, you start responding in ways that make her feel deeply connected, and that's where something real begins. When you meet her in the place where she quietly aches, when you step into the space no one else noticed and offer her something she thought she had to live without, it changes everything. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being the guy who always says the right thing. It's about being the one man who saw her clearly and stayed present when it mattered most. That's when the bond forms. Not out of pressure, not out of performance, but from presence. Suddenly she's thinking about you in the middle of the night without knowing why. She finds herself checking her phone, hoping to see your name. She says she's too busy, but she makes time anyway. You're no longer just someone she likes. You've become part of how she feels safe, excited, seen. And when a woman connects with you on that level, she doesn't let go easily. Because now you're not just in her life, you're in her mind, you're in her emotional world. And that kind of bond doesn't fade, it deepens. Here's the honest truth, my friend. You don't have to be the best-looking man in the room. You don't need to have the biggest bank account. And you sure don't have to talk circles around anyone to get their attention. What you need, what really matters, is learning to see what others don't, to pay attention to what she's quietly missing, and to show up in a way that makes her feel it without forcing it. You do that, and everything changes. The 4 things we talked about: validation, excitement, escape, and challenge. They're not tricks. They're human needs. They're the emotions that make a woman feel alive, safe, and seen. Most men never learn how to speak that emotional language. But now you're not most men. Now you do. So here's my challenge to you. Use this knowledge with care, not to manipulate, not to play games, but to build something real. Because this isn't about control, it's about connection, real connection. And that kind of connection, it can change everything. If this message hit home for you, if something in your gut said, yeah, this is what I've been missing, go ahead and comment the word needed down below. That way I know you're part of this with me, that you're tuned in for the right reasons. And if you want more of this, more conversations that get to the heart of how men and women connect at a deeper level, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.